The fangirl in me had a bunch of the women that are in the book sign the book, and that's what we're doing today. So I'm going to start right now with one of the most important women that is a part of this book. If you look at the book right now, it says, hey, Black Girls Coalition. Speaking of which, here's a member of the Black Girl Coalition, Veronica Webb, and it says, Veronica Webb loves Marcellas. And what's important about Veronica Webb to me, most importantly, is that Veronica Webb actually wrote the foreword for Supreme Models. And that was huge for me because I had tried to get Naomi Campbell to write the foreword, and she said yes, but she was working and and it was just our schedules weren't meshing. So I had asked Veronica to write a preface. So it was supposed to go, Naomi wrote the foreword, Veronica wrote the preface, and then the rest of the book. I wrote the introduction. And Veronica's foreword, which is here, which starts with modeling is magic, is so powerful, important, that it actually read like a foreword anyway. So we just made her preface the foreword, kept my introduction, and just moved on. And then if you have a chance, if you get the book, please read, please read my introduction. It talks about my history. It talks about the reasons why I wrote the book. And I think it's really important. You get a little bit of my history and why on a personal level, things like diversity and inclusion matter to me. And they matter to me because growing up Black and gay and being told constantly that I was not good, let's just put it like that, it was really important for me to see images of Black people portrayed beautifully. And so that sort of propelled my career. Okay, so the next autograph in the book is the Divine, who I call, when you look at the book, I call Beth Ann the godmother. And Beth Ann actually had a problem with me calling her the godmother in the book, but her section is called the God. Look how beat up my book is. The godmother page is like tore a little. I tore that page the night I opened the book for the first time. God, so crazy. But Beth Ann Hardison, the godmother, I call her the godmother, and I call her the godmother because Diane von Furstenberg, the legendary designer of the wrap dress, referred to Beth Ann as the godmother. And she is the godmother. Veronica Webb calls her the oracle, and she is the oracle of all things models. And she's like a very historic person in fashion. So Beth Ann Hardison, the heart with the arrow, and then this wonderful thank you, mi amor. Beth Ann speaks fluent Spanish, and Mexico is very near and dear to her heart. So that's a very cool part of the book. What I should have done is postage stamped all the pages that have the signatures on them, and I didn't do that. So while I'm doing this, why don't you guys ask me questions, and I'll look and I'll answer questions while I'm looking for the next autograph in the book. Because there aren't very many autographs. I haven't really met that many of the models. I've interviewed a lot of them. I interviewed like 40 models. Monique, it is very inspiring to read. The interviews and the essays are really, really inspiring because most of the interviews, well, all of the interviews come from the models' mouths. But what I did with the essays is a lot of the essays were actually interviews, and I took myself out and just flipped them into an essay. So there you have it. Brother Junior has joined us, and I don't know Brother Junior's real name. Wait, no, it's not Lawrence. I know Brother Junior is a photographer. I looked at him. I lurked on his Instagram. Oh, this is a really cool story. So when the book came out and it started getting all this press, this is the Divine Pat Cleveland. I got this letter from her husband, Paul von Ravenstein, and Paul said, Larry, and Paul said, I was going to say Lawrence. Paul said, her husband Paul said, Miss Cleveland would like a signed copy of the book. He slid into my DMs on Instagram, and I about fainted. I was like, good Lord. Pat Cleveland knows I exist. That's just crazy. I am actually doing this on double screens. How funny is that? I'm doing from my Marky Mark page on this phone and from the Supreme Models on that phone, on that page. So I hope that works out. We'll see. Because I'm not seeing that anybody's watching on the Marky Mark page. I love this photo of Pat Cleveland. This photo was never before published. I found it at Getty Images, and I saw it and I fell in love with it. She's backstage at a Halston show, just sitting, waiting for her turn. Pat Cleveland is amazing. So one day I have to have Pat Cleveland sign the book, and she wants me to sign her copy of the book. So that's going to be epic. One day we will be past this pandemic and life will return. All right, so here's another signature. This is one of my favorite new models. She's completely exciting. I am now I call her a friend. I've met her cousins. She's been a big supporter of the book. Her name is Janis Alter Dilone. And she goes by her last name, which is Dilone, which I think is the coolest thing ever. So I met Dilone at lunch one day and in Brooklyn, near where she lives. And she's a really good friend of one of my good friends, Jay Joseph. And if you don't follow Jay Joseph, you should follow Jay Joseph. He's a really cool brother who's become one of my best friends. And he's like an insider in fashion. And we met over brunch, and she signed my book and I signed her book, and she was such a doll. So her book says, her signature, her autograph says, "Hell yes." And then it's Janis Dilone, and then it's a heart, and then it's like, "Heart you, Marcellas." And that's from Dilone. I love Dilone's section. First of all, Dilone to me is a classic beauty. She's one of those women, those rare models that if you dropped her in any time period, she would be a top model. There's something very 40s, 50s, 60s about her, but there's something very now and contemporary about her too. And I love that about her. Christy Turlington has that same quality where their face is just so perfect and epic. They would be a chameleon, like Larry said, Brother Jr. So this is the rest of Dilone's. Dilone did an interview for me for the book. And this is the rest of Dilone's section. So there's her interview. And this is so funny. Her interview was actually much longer than this. But in the original draft of this book, we had a third picture of Dilone here. So we made the interview really short. So then Dilone's team didn't want to use the third picture. So they told us to take the third picture out. And I didn't even think about it. What I should have done is put in the rest of Dilone's interview so it took up more of the pages. But I didn't. But what's really interesting about this photo is that this is Dilone, a model named Amito, and Iman Hammam. I hope I pronounced her last name correctly. And I thought that this would be a great photo for the cover because I thought it's all what the book is about. Dilone is Afro Latina, Amito is clearly African, and Iman is half Dutch and half Egyptian. She's actually Muslim. So I thought that's what this book is about. It's about diversity, it's about inclusion, it's about hair texture, it's about colors, it's all the spectrum. But that photo didn't make it as the cover. Instead, the lovely Jeneil Williams is on the cover of Supreme Models, and I love this photo. It's one of my favorites in the book. So it's very interesting. Hey, Eileen, and hey, SMB Management. So another photo that has an autograph is Jourdan Dunn. So this is really funny. So I met Jourdan Dunn at an H&M party recently on February 12th here in LA. I found out from the PR person that Jourdan Dunn, and that's her cover of W, the new Royals. They named her one of the new Royals. I found out from the PR company for H&M after they invited me that Jourdan Dunn was going to be at the party. So of course I put on an outfit and I went to the H&M party in the Hills. And as soon as I walked in, I saw Jourdan Dunn and I was literally vibrating. I literally couldn't even breathe. So I walked up to Jourdan at the party and I was like, "Hi, Jourdan, my name is Marcellas." And she was really sweet. She was like, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "I'm good." And I was like, "I wrote a book about you." And she was like, "What?" And she was taken aback. And I was like, "Well, not a book about you. I wrote Supreme Models, Iconic." And the moment I got to Iconic, she was like, "Oh my God, it's you? You wrote that book?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Have you seen it?" And she was like, "No, I haven't seen it." She said, "No, I haven't seen the book yet. She said, "I've seen it. I haven't gotten it yet. My friend Riley showed it to me. Riley Montana, who's one of the models in the book." So I was like, "Girl, where you staying? I'll bring you a copy of the book," which I did, "and you can sign mine and I'll sign yours." So I met her at her hotel and there's her signature, Jourdan Dunn. And she signed my book for me, and we got to hang out, and it was really lovely because she was actually checking out of her hotel. Hey, Gary. And she was checking out of her hotel, and she was going to the airport, so she was really rushed, and you could see that in her signature. And then this is the rest of the Jourdan Dunn section. This is crazy, too, about Jourdan Dunn. The tagline for this thing, Storytime Supreme Models, is every page has a story. And every page has a story. This cover is legendary. This was a cover of ID magazine. And I wanted the cover. And what's really amazing about this cover is these girls all hit at the same time, and they changed fashion. They were sort of the new wave in the mid 2000s, the early to mid 2000s. And I wanted the ID cover, but do you know that ID wouldn't allow me to use their logo on the page? So I had to buy the picture, and I couldn't get the cover art for it. Gary, I'm really well, and I'm doing really well, and I'm happy, and I hope you're healthy too. And so it is Janelle Williams, Cecily Lopez, Jourdan Dunn, because it's in Jourdan's section, and this is Arlena Sosa. And if you I've got something happening, I believe it's going to happen on Monday. If you are a fan of the book and you're a fan of Black models and you're a fan of pop culture, there's going to be something that I'm doing exclusively for Supreme Models and exclusively for my page. And Arlena's is a part of it. So you might want to keep an eye out for that because it's a really cool thing. Okay, Jourdan Dunn. Wait, I got to go back because Cynthia Bailey signed my copy. Hey, Kia. Cynthia Bailey signed my copy of the book. Loy, who I always call Loy is here, ladies and gentlemen. Loy is a supermodel, and she's in the book. And Loy, I'm going to mention later, Loy actually signed the book too. But wait, I got to go back to Cynthia Bailey because Cynthia Bailey signed the book. Cynthia Bailey and I are friends. Here's what's crazy about Cynthia Bailey. I used to be a model. And many moons ago, I always say 20 years and 20 pounds ago. And Cynthia Bailey, as everybody knows, was like a big model in like the late 90s to the 2000s. And I actually worked with Cynthia. We didn't shoot together. Kia, I miss you so much. I miss our lives together. I miss set life. Kia's a cool model, hence her name, Cool Kia. And we've worked together a couple of times for a client in Michigan that I love, Meyer. Okay, so Cynthia Bailey is a friend of mine. She signed the book, and we were at Soho House together, and Cynthia did this whole elaborate thing. I made the mistake of giving her like a set of markers, and she just marked her page all up. But let me read what Cynthia says, because you can't see it. So she says, "Marcellas, so honored to be in your beautiful book with these beautiful women. Love you much. Cynthia Bailey," and then her nickname is 50 Cent, but she spells it with a Y. So that's Cynthia's autograph in the book. And that's her amazing Essence cover. One of her amazing Essence covers. Cynthia's got like 2 or 3 Essence covers. You know, people sort of sleep on Cynthia because now she's on The Real Housewives. But back in the day, Cynthia was one of those like high-end catalog models that also did editorial, that also did runway. And Cynthia made her money. Listen, she was one of those girls that was in all the best catalogs. Saks, Neiman's, Bloomingdale's, Macy's. Cynthia was like cha-ching, cha-ching. Cynthia was that girl that was in everybody's home. So we got to Jourdan Dunn. We got to Cynthia Bailey. I didn't skip my dear Cynthia. Who else signed the book? I'm trying to get back further. There's the mom. All right, so ask me questions while I'm looking for. Oh, okay. So another signature. Too late. And Cynthia is still making her money. We cannot begrudge Cynthia for making her money. People in fashion want to be so catty. I've actually heard people say, well, why would you mess with your legacy if you're Cynthia Bailey and do the Real Housewives? And it's like, if you're not modeling anymore and you still need a check, you got to do what you got to do. Now she has the Bailey agency. Now she has a wine cellar. Now she has her own line of like handbags. She has her own line of sunglasses. I'm not hating on you, Miss Bailey. I'm trying to get like you. So here is Tamika Frazier Hines. Here is her page. And there's her signature. Tamika with the heart. And I love this editorial for Tamiko. Tamiko's editorial ran in Cosmopolitan. And Tamiko did a really beautiful interview with me. And what's important about Tamiko is Tamiko was the first Black woman to get a contract with Maybelline Cosmetics. And the other thing that's really important about Tamiko is she was the first Black model to wear her hair natural in a cosmetics ad. So that's really, really major. And she talks all about that. She talks all about that process and how that happened. I mean, she just goes on and on and on. And I love her interview. So you guys check that out. Okay, keeping going. BB, I miss you. BB just chimed in on the Supreme Models page. BB is a doll. I've had the honor of working with her several times, and now she's one of my dearest friends. She's a talented, incredible stylist. I did that. This is interesting. Leah hasn't signed a copy of my book yet, but this photo of Leah Kabidi was one of the photos I sent in to perhaps be the cover of the book. And I actually thought that they were going to choose this book. I don't think that Tamiko ever, SMB Model Management had a question. She said, was Tamiko ever on the cover of Vogue? I don't think Tamiko was ever a Vogue cover girl. I think she was inside Vogue, but I don't think she was ever a Vogue cover girl. So I love this picture of Leah. I thought it was going to be a potential cover. It didn't make the cover, but it's really, really beautiful. Son of a Gun says he wasn't familiar with Tamiko before Supreme Models. It's been nice to research all these women. Tamiko was legendary. If you were in the 90s, she had multiple. The other thing that's really cool about Tamiko is she kept that Maybelline contract for years. She had that Maybelline contract for 7 or 9 years or something crazy. So Tamiko was this dark-skinned woman with natural hair who had a major makeup campaign, contract. And she was in those Maybelline ads for years. She was walking around with the rest of the girls in the commercials, but her ad campaigns were flawless and always with either her twist or her afro and her texture. So it was so amazing to see Tamiko, who is dark-skinned and who had natural hair, in a cosmetic campaign. It meant so much to people of color. So another autograph I have is Precious Lee. Precious is this exciting, incredible, such a crazy model. Crazy in the best possible way. So I have a Precious story also. So before the book came out, years ago, I was getting on a plane from LA, flying to New York to do the Meredith Vieira show. And it was in 2015. I used to do I was a regular on the Meredith Vieira show. But I never moved my ass to New York because I love LA. So anyway, I'm getting on the plane because Meredith pays for the plane, and I'm going into business class. So I'm one of the first people. Hey, Karen. I'm one of the first. Hi, Diana. I'm one of the first people on the plane. So I'm standing in line to get on the plane, and I turn around, and this beautiful girl, Precious, is standing behind me. And I was so taken aback, and I think I said something like, well, you're stunning. That was my opening line to Precious. And she starts laughing, and she's like, so she starts laughing after I'm like, well, you're stunning, or you're beautiful, or something. And she goes, well, thank you. Who are you, Mr. Fabulous? And I was like, I'm Marcellas Reynolds. I'm a stylist. And I was like, clearly you're a model. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, oh, I'm coming home from doing Old Navy in San Francisco. I'm going to New York. And I was like, oh, I'm going to New York to do the Meredith Vieira show this morning. And she was like, because we were on the red eye coming from LA. And so she ended up sitting in the seat behind me. So it was so annoying for the people that were seated next to us because we spent the rest of the flight talking to each other over the seat. Then when I got off the plane with Precious, I had a car because the Meredith Vieira show took really good care of us. So I was like, girl, do you want to ride? Where are you going? Because I thought she was going into Manhattan. And she was like, yeah, I don't want to, it's because it was like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. It was still dark outside. So I was like, do you want to, so I was like, I have a car. We can drop you off. So I thought she was going to live in the city. Precious lived in Brooklyn and deep in Brooklyn, and the driver was so pissed off. But I mean, and then, okay, so here's what's also important about Precious and what was very important for me for the book. Precious is a plus size model that has really broken through. And she's doing editorials and she's doing shows. And if you get the chance, go on Vogue.com and take a look at her work, or go to models.com and take a look at her work. And she came up with the idea for this shoot, and she shot it in her hometown, Atlanta. So she took a whole fashion crew there and did this whole thing. Her name is Precious Lee, and she is stunning, and she kills it on the runway. She's a muse to Christian Siriano. Okay. Here's another autograph, and this is one of my favorite. There's something about Cecily Lopez that I actually adore, and I just figured it out the moment that I said there's something about Cecily Lopez that I adore. So today's episode of Storytime Supreme Models. Hey, Chris, the editor-in-chief of Angelino Magazine just joined us. Cecily reminds me of my cousin Felicia, because Felicia was looked exactly like Stephanie, looked exactly like Cecily, and had all this hair. And Cecily is known in the industry for having all this thick, beautiful, long, amazing hair. So that's why Cecily, I just realized that she looks like my cousin Felicia, who lived upstairs from me when we were little. We walked to school together every day. I love Felicia. So anyway, Cecily was what's crazy about Cecily is Cecily was one of the models that got a cover that was shot by Steven Meisel of that legendary all-black Vogue from back in the day, which I think was was 2008, and there was the all-black issue of Vogue. She was on one of the covers, and I wanted that cover so bad, but I couldn't afford it because Steven Meisel wanted $2,500 for the cover. But this is Cecily Lopez, and she signed my book, and she lives here in LA. She stopped modeling, got married, and had a couple of babies. And I think she has 2 kids now. And she just seems really wildly happy. I met her not too long ago. Her and her mother came to an event I had at Soho House downtown. But here's what she says. Marcellas, words cannot explain how thankful I am to you. Thank you for including me in this masterpiece. I could cry. I mean, and then there's her signature and there's her heart. And what's really amazing about this book is that so many of these models in this book have been so kind about the book. They can't believe that they're in the book. They love the book. They're so honored to be a part of the book. And I'm like, it's my gift to you. It's my gift to them because I'm inspired by them and their stories and their journeys. So that they would be honored to be in this book overwhelms me every time. So there's that. So there's that. Okay, wait. I think so. Wait, ask me questions because now I have to find another autograph because I don't have that many. Because you know what, the book is like barely 6 months old. It just came out. It's still a baby, so I haven't really. And then COVID-19 happens. So, and I mean, I had all these things lined up for the book. I got invited to do Essence Fest, and I was going to do a panel with some of the models, and I was sitting at home plotting on what models I wanted for the panel. And you know, nobody was going to tell you no to Essence Fest, so you know, of course I was going to ask the queen. Yes, Christopher, $2,500 for a Stephen Meisel photo, $2,500 for a Peter Lindbergh photo, and $2,500 for a Reuven Alfanador photo. And that's why there's no Reuven Alfanador photos in the book, and that's why there's no Peter Lindbergh photos in the book. And it breaks my heart that there's no Peter Lindbergh photos in the book because he is legend. He's one of the people that is responsible for starting the whole supermodel phenomenon. And he has this cover of one of my favorite models who's become a friend of mine, Karen Alexander. And Karen had one Vogue cover in her career, and her career was, I mean, we're talking a storied career. She was like right there with Naomi and Beverly Peele when we were talking, and Veronica Webb. When you're talking about supermodels, black supermodels from like that mid-90s moment, Karen Alexander, okay, the face of Ralph Lauren, okay, the face that launched 100 campaigns. I mean, just crazy. So I wanted Karen's Vogue cover, and I couldn't clear it, and I couldn't afford it because there was a moment where I was like, I have to have one Peter Lindbergh photo in the book, so I'm just going to go ahead and spend $2,500 on this Peter Lindbergh photo cover of Karen Alexander, and then they wouldn't let me clear it. There was some problem with it at Vogue. Ask me questions because every time I say ask me questions, I get to another autograph. So here is one of the most important autographs to me in this book. Loy I was calling her Lois. Then I was calling her Loy. Then I was calling her Loa. Now I know it's Loy like joy. But Loy Samuels is a dear friend of mine. I actually got to like sit down with her before I even interviewed her and had drinks and dinner with her one night in New York. And there's her incredible photograph by James Hicks. Loy just is like this cool girl. She's a woman. I always refer to models as girls, but she's a woman. She's an artist. She does these really cool collages, but she also was a clothing designer, and she had a designer. And here's the cover: Supreme Models, Iconic Black Women Who Revolutionized Fashion. This is my broken up, beat up copy of my book. It's my personal copy. This is Loy. And Loy had a clothing line called Vessel, or The Vessel, and it was beautiful. Oh my God, so beautiful. And this photo is really important because there aren't that many black, oh my God, there's my girl. Hey, honey. What's really important about this photo is that there aren't that many black photographers in the book. And I worked really hard trying to find photographers of color to put in Supreme Models, a book about black models. And so I came across this photo when I was researching photos of Loy. And this photo is by a black photographer, and his name is James Hicks. And this photo is one of two photos in the books that had never been published before. And I just think this photo is so she looks like this, she looks like what she is, just stunning and beautiful and perfect, and those lips and the teeth and the control in that photo and the eye contact. But to me, she looks like it looks like a Gauguin, you know? She looks like one of those wonderful island girls with the flowers behind her ears. It looks like a work of art to me. And so Loy says, so proud of you, Marcellas. Thank you. Love, Loy. The S is silent. I just love that photo. I love that photo. And she did an interview, and you guys have to read her interview. There's a man in Jamaica. His name is Kingsley, and I can't remember right now what his agency is called, but he has found so many amazing, beautiful Jamaican models. And he found the girl on the cover. He found Jeneil Williams, and he found Loy. And this is one of the British Vogue covers in my book. And this British Vogue cover is Loy, Frankie Raider, and a model named Nadne Adcock. And so there aren't that many photos of women that aren't black in the book. There's, of course, Christy Turlington's photo, her cover with Naomi Campbell, her Vogue Paris cover. And then there's this beautiful British Vogue cover. And can I tell you another reason why this cover is in here? I was obsessed with Frankie Raider when she was a model in New York, when she was doing her thing. She had, the body was insane, the face, everything. I was obsessed with Frankie Raider. And when Frankie was modeling, I was still modeling. And I'm not even going to tell you this because this is a little embarrassing, but I guess I'm going to tell you this. I saw Frankie in New York one day near NYU. I was coming from a casting. And Frankie was on the street, and I followed her for like 3 blocks. It was so crazy. But she was so beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, it's Frankie Raider. And I was like, should I just walk up to her and talk to her? And then I was like, okay, well, I'm with Ford, so I could walk up to her and I could be like, well, I'm a model too, Frankie. But then I was like, that's weird. So at first she was going in the same direction I was going, so I just like stayed behind her. And then there was a moment where I was going one way and she turned the other way, and I walked a block out of my way. And then I realized, and then she went into the cash station at the Citibank cash station. God, I remember this day from like 1996, like it happened yesterday. And I was like, damn it, she's going into the cash station, so I really can't continue to follow her. But anyway, if you have the book, you should read all the essays. But Loy's essay is one of my favorite essays in the book, and she was actually online with us a little while ago watching this. So shout out to my girl, who I'm still friends with and has been such a big supporter. I think that might be it for autographs in the book. Oh, I'm going to say this again. Keep your eye out for Monday or Tuesday of this week, because I'm doing something really special with a very select group of models from the book. And Arlena Sosa Pena, she's married, is one of the models that's going to be part of this thing I'm doing. And I hope you guys like it. So keep your eyes peeled Monday, because it's going to be cute. Okay, so Brunch with Burr says, what is something that captures an agency's eye with application submission? Really quickly, if you've got it, hey Camille, if you've got it, you have it. So all agencies want to see is you against a white sweep with lit very well. And they want to see you with like a little t-shirt on, a skinny pair of jeans, and a pair of heels. They want to see an up-close picture of what your skin looks like. So pull your hair back. And then so you do like one with your hair pulled back, cropped, so they can see what you look like. Just search model Polaroids on the internet and look for good Polaroids of models, because that's what they want to see. Don't go out and do some tacky test, and spend some money. Just, you could do it against a white wall, lit well, skinny jeans or a skirt so they can see your legs, a tight tank top or a t-shirt, and they want to see your face. Very little makeup, undone. Because in fashion, we can see through that. We can see what you're going to look like, once we put all of the artifice on you. So we just want to see what you really look like. I think I'm at the end of signatures. Oh no, I'm not at the end of autographs. There's one more autograph in here that's really important, so I'm going to go right to it because I don't want to keep you guys any longer than you want to be kept. So, Veronica Webb signed here again. So she signed in the front and then she signed her page. Her section in the book is one of the most amazing. She wrote the foreword that's in the front of the book, and then she signed it in the back as well. This is her first L cover, and I love this photo so much. Look at Veronica, like all like, 10 years old, looking like so like young and fresh-faced and cute. I love that cover. And then, so Veronica says, "Love you, thank you," which I love. Thank you, honey. Veronica Webb is my ride or die. She's been by my side in this whole thing from day one. Hey, Shanice, my baby girl. BB Jones, who's in the chat. I shot a cover with Veronica Webb, which sounds crazy because Veronica Webb is a supermodel. And I shot a cover with Veronica Webb of Chicago Splash magazine. And BB was the stylist, and she did a beautiful job. Oh my God. So that's Veronica Webb, and she says, "Thank you, love you," or "Love you, thank you." And if you get the book, if you have the book, read her foreword. She speaks so beautifully about what it's truly like to be a model, what you go through. It's an amazing interview. And I did my girl justice in this book. Because at the bottom of her section is her timeline of events, what she did, what she means to fashion. This is her Vogue Italia cover. Yes, look at those legs on that cover, giving you swimsuit, giving you realness. And then this is a shot from a Vogue Italia editorial she did. So I really did her justice. And guys, when you look at the book, when you see the timelines are super important because I did that for the girls that I think are the most important models in the history of fashion as far as they are in this book. So it's a real interesting timeline of their accomplishments, their covers, their campaigns. And as we know, Veronica Webb is historic because she was the first Black woman with a major cosmetics campaign. People want to be like, well, Iman had polished ambers. Polished ambers was like a little offshoot of Revlon, and we don't know if that was really a contract. And then Peggy Dillard sometimes is like, well, I had a contract with Flory Roberts. Revlon, multi-million-dollar girl right here. Ain't nobody checking for no polished ambers or no Flory Roberts. I'm not throwing shade at my girls, but because I love me some Peggy Dillard, and I love me some Iman. But I mean, this is the contract that changed the game. This right here, this is the face that changed it. This is the contract player. She was the woman that broke through and got the first major cosmetics contract. She was standing there on that white sweep next to Cindy Crawford and next to Claudia Schiffer, next to the biggest models in the world. When everybody thought Naomi was going to get that contract, boom, here come Veronica with her hands out like, "Give me my check. I want my money. I want my check." Hey, Isadora. Quaftu, I know I need to stop. My friend Quaftu is like, boy, don't stop. Stop acting up. All right, we're getting to the end. Jessica White, Fight Me, is one of the top Black models ever. She has more Sports Illustrated appearances than any other Black model. And yes, that includes Tyra Banks. So I did include Jessica White in the book. The other thing that's really cool about Jessica White is that Jessica White is one of the few Black models to have multiple contracts for makeup campaigns. One of the few models of any race to have multiple campaigns, not campaigns, contracts. We're talking contract player. She was a cover girl and she had a contract with Maybelline. So Jessica White is legend. Jessica White, and that body. And that face. And Jessica White was one of those girls that would like tell you like literally, you know what? Jessica White once said to somebody trying to check her, she said, "Google me. Y'all better Google Jessica White." So Jessica signed my book. And Jessica said, "I'm grateful for all your hard work. May God bless you. Many blessings. May God bless you with many blessings to every book you write. Jessica is such a love. Jessica, I had dinner with Jessica when she signed my book. And Jessica was like, you're going to write like 5 or 6 books. You got more books in you. I see it. And I was like, girl, no. And then here's the signature of my cover star, Jeneil Williams, who's been such an inspiration and such a trooper. Jeneil is pregnant with her first, and Jeneil, last year, y'all couldn't swing a stick in fashion without seeing Jeneil and her flawless Tom Ford beauty campaign. And Jeneil is on the cover of the book, Supreme Models, Iconic Black Women Who Revolutionized Fashion. And Jeneil is pregnant right now with her first baby. So let's all send thoughts and prayers and good energy and positive energy to the beautiful Jeneil Williams, because she is an angel. And she says, I am grateful for your dream, Jeneil. And then she said, you are a blessing. Thank you for uplifting us. I am not going to cry. I am not going to sit in my house and cry. And so this is, oh my God, I have so many signatures. I have so many autographs. Roshumba Williams, Divine, another ride or die of mine. Roshumba's amazing. Roshumba's become a true friend. I just talked to her the other day. And you know what? Roshumba means so much to fashion, because when this face hit the runway, dark skin, those lips, that nose, and that afro, and that body, and that personality that she brought to the runway, Roshumba Williams is legend. You know, we're talking YSL, we're talking Jeffrey Bean, we're talking Givenchy, we're talking Lacroix, we're talking like couture, you know, and she does a really beautiful essay in the book. And then I think the last the last autograph I have, and then I'm leaving. I'm literally going. Jorge, I'm about to wrap this up. Kara Young, who's a friend of mine, and I can't believe I'm stumbling over her name, but you know what? It's like, you'll walk up to a girl named Kara, and you'll say Kara, and she'll be like, it's Kara. And then you'll walk up to a girl named Kara, and you'll say Kara, and she'll be like, it's Kara. So Kara Young, though, is everything. I was obsessed with her when she was a model, because she was like one of those Revlon girls, and she would like wink, and she would like smile, and she just had that extra like in all her pictures. So Kara is the last autograph I have so far in the book. And Kara says, Marcellas, you have changed the world. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love being the finale. And I refer to her as my finale because she's the last model in the book. So I'm not going to cry. Kara is my finale. Here's one of her flawless Vogue covers, because she was a Vogue girl, darling. Every month, every issue, month after month. And then here's another one of her flawless Vogue covers. I mean, this is the face that moved product. You can't even... Makeup campaigns, clothing campaigns, everything. But she wasn't a runway girl because she had stage fright. Can you believe that? So that's Kara Young, that amazing Vogue cover with the wink, which is so hard to do. And guys, I'm going to get off because it's been almost an hour and I thought I was going to be on 30 minutes. Kelly, you came late. But I love you guys for watching. You're absolutely right. A documentary would be good. Wait, I'm going to take my glasses off. You're absolutely right. A documentary would be good. Keep your eye on me. I got some things planned. I love all of you. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend, even though weekends no longer matter because, you know, social distancing. And I'm going to be around Monday. So if you don't have it, Supreme Models, Iconic Black Women Who Revolutionized Fashion. You will love this book. It is a feast for the eyes, but it is so filled with like so much history, so much fashion history, and that has no race. It's for everybody. This book celebrates every person of every race who comes together to create the dream of fashion. but it also tells the story of some of the most incredible women that have ever stepped onto a white sweep. And so it's my history, but it's also their history, and it's also our history. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye. So I'm going to end this one. And it says, are you sure you want to end now? And then I'm going to download that. And then I'm going to end this one. Bye. And it says, are you